Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to the marketplace. Coming up this afternoon, Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta indicates that Eurobond holders may face a nominal haircut of between 30 and 40% as part of the restructuring of external debt. Analysis is ahead as government hopes to reach an agreement by end of year. Also coming up, World Bank set to release $300 million in budget support for Ghana in December, following progress made on expected program reforms. And cedi expected to weaken for the third week running as demand surges ahead of the Christmas season. My name is Daryl. Kwawu. Thanks for joining us. Details coming up. Thanks for staying with us, everyone. My name is Daryl. Kwawu. First, Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta has indicated that Eurobond holders may face a nominal haircut of between 30 and 40% as part of the restructuring of external debt. According to him, coupons may also exceed 5% with final maturities of not more than 20 years. Updating investors about the state of Ghana's debt restructuring in London, Mr. Ofori-Atta said Ghana has no antipathy towards any financial instrument, ensuring that every investor's position will be respected.
So in our indicative scenario, the restructuring terms for bondholders involve maybe a nominal haircut between 30 and 40%, looking at maybe coupons of no more than 5%, and final maturities of no more than maybe 20 years. The contours of what we are discussing and analyzing.
Thank you, Minister.
I mean, we've heard a lot of that in recent weeks, and really, as a country, as a people, we have no antipathy towards any instruments which would ensure that everybody's position is respected.
All right, joining us on Zoom, Associate Professor of Finance at the Andrews University, Professor Williams Pepa. Thank you for your time. Explain to us what this essentially means for investors, for the Eurobond holders, this nominal haircut.
Good afternoon, Daryl, and good afternoon for calling me, to your viewers as well. So the discussion that is ongoing, or the proposition from the Minister of Finance to Eurobond holders, I'm sure the Minister has looked at what he needs to create room for development in Ghana. All these discussion of haircuts is to be able to create some fiscal space for the country to be able to meet the debt sustainability ratios. So let me give some details. So currently, our Eurobond holdings is about 13.1 billion US dollars. Our average interest payment per annum before we stopped was around 1.1 billion interest payments alone. This excludes principal. It was one of the major reasons why we saw our foreign currency or exchange rate becoming reducing in value, because we needed more dollars to be able to pay these dollar demands or claims. So from the discussion or what the finance minister has mentioned, if we are able to attain a 30 to 40% haircut on the 13.1 billion, the Eurobond debt will reduce drastically to between 9.9 billion to 7 billion. And this, in respect, is going to reduce the interest payments for the next 20 years between the ranges of 460 million a year to 390 million cedis, 390 million US dollars in a year. So this means that we will be able to have enough room to plan. And it is going to reduce our debt burden so that we'll be able to achieve the GDP to debt ratio that we have all been envisaging to achieve. So this is very significant if the Eurobond holders will buy into this. I know this is a dollar-denominated investment, so most of them accepting first a haircut is something that is really going to affect them, but it is better than they losing their money or the government refusing to pay. So for almost 8 months that they have not received any coupon payment or principal payment, it is affecting their portfolios. So such negotiations are very important. And I'm sure they have also looked at the figures and they think that this will really help them.
So the Ministry of Finance has revealed that an agreement in principle with the Eurobond holders is expected to be reached by the end of this year. And so according to the Finance Minister, discussions have been ongoing for some time with the creditor groups and their representatives. You talk about the investors needed to get a buy-in into this. Do you anticipate any challenges?
So, well, I know that probably the discussion will be on whether the 30 to 40% and nominal haircuts will be something that have to be looked at, because it is a significant impact for them to lose between 3 to 5 billion US dollars is very, very, very significant amount. So that is where that kind of negotiation will have to be. I'm not sure they will be too much worried about a 5% interest payment and then also the duration of 20 years, because they know if this does not come, the duration interest rate of 5% is still high, and because averagely we have been paying around 8.8%. So if they lose 3% and then we hold on, get these coupon payments for the next 20 years in dollar-denominated terms, it is good. But where the challenge will be for us as a country is to be able to convince them to accept the nominal haircut of 30 to 40%. That is where the challenge will be.
Things our research desk has been sharing with the team, my colleague Isaac Kofeje. Now he says that available data shows the higher the magnitude of a haircut, the longer you get priced out of the market. Your bond insurance will head towards zero and your minimum coupon rate could be about 25%. Also means there's a high likelihood that the duration of this IMF program could be extended beyond 2026 due to the uncertainties around our ability to get new liquidity support from the international capital market. Your thoughts?
I mean, if you remember, I was in Ghana and I made a speech, and I noted that the 3-year IMF program is not something that is going to help us solve our problem. We needed a longer period of IMF program. If you ask me, a 6 to 7 year program would have helped us. So all these points given by your analysts are in line. If we really want to free ourselves and from this insolvency situation we find ourselves, we will need a longer period to be able to have this kind of discussion. And the IMF being around for a longer period will help us to be disciplined, especially in 2024, an election year. We may foresee some kind of a little bit of volatility because of the pressures coming in when we don't know whether there will be a change of government or there will be a continuation. And all these will have an impact on the kind of negotiation that are going to happen by December. But if investors are aware, know that no matter the political party that comes after 2024, Ghana government is going to abide by, there will be an IMF program that is going to be the anchor for each government to follow. Which, as we remember, this was done in 2016 when there was a changeover. The new government followed the IMF program. It gives some kind of assurance. So if we should have probably extend the IMF program a little bit to about add additional 3 to 4 years, it is going to really help us and give confidence to investors that yes, Ghana is going to abide by the terms of the current negotiation, especially with our Eurobond holders. If we agree, yes, they are going to pay us the 5% on coupon. They are going to make sure that they restructure the economy to bring some kind of physical discipline, ensure expenditure cuts, so that we don't get to a point that a similar situation will come back again. If you ask me, if you don't get an extension in IMF program, by the time we finish this program in 2026, in 2027, we'll go back to the same situation again. So that's my thoughts. That's why I'm saying that a longer duration will help us.
I just have a minute to spare. I just want to ask you a quick question. One of the outcomes of the annual IMF World Bank Spring meetings in Morocco a couple of weeks ago, just the week past, China and France have assured Ghana of signing an MOU for bilateral debt restructuring. What do you make of this development?
I mean, this because of the previous discussion, we have all been waiting for China to tell us their position. We know how China did negotiation with Zambia and those countries in the southern Africa thereabout. So if they are signing, and we know China probably will not take a haircut, but extend the duration or reduce or will profile their debts, and that is what I am expecting China to do. In any way, the aim for this debt restructuring is to find a way to free space for our financial challenges. So if you're able to defer our payments into the future and then create room to meet current needs, it's going to really help us. So, I mean, China and France signing an MOU with Ghana, all is in line of the IMF positioning. And as I've said, if IMF stays around for probably 7 years, we may see a stronger hand. And let me make this point before you go. We should not look at IMF as they were in the 1980s. They have also reformed their approaches, the way they were solving issues. So we should notice that IMF itself has gone through a process, and they will not address 2024 situation with the 1980s approach. So anyone who have a misconception about IMF, probably you may have to change your mind, and let's believe that they are here to help countries to find financial sustainability. The global turmoil in finance is getting out of hand. We know the wars around, and this is a time that we need somebody to help government to be more disciplined. In Africa, we know we are not very disciplined, and we need a policeman. IMF will help us to be that kind of ensure that kind of discipline.
Paul Williams-Wipart, thank you so much, Associate Professor of Finance at the Andrews University. I appreciate your time. Well, Ghana is set to receive some $300 million in budget support from the World Bank in December this year. This is what Joy Business has picked up from officials working on Ghana's program on the sidelines of the just-ended annual International Monetary Fund World Bank meetings in Marrakesh, Morocco. Here's George Jaffe.
Sources say this is based on progress made by Ghana when it comes to the proposed reforms from the World Bank aimed at stabilizing the economy as well as its performance under the IMF First Program Review. The disbursement is likely to come in the second week of December 2023. This will happen after the IMF board sits on November 22, 2023 and approve Ghana's second tranche of funds based on its performance under the first program review. This will go along with support projects identified the 2023 budget. For government, it will go a long way to help in the resumption of some donor-funded projects that were stalled earlier this year, while for the Bank of Ghana, it may provide the needed foreign exchange support when it comes to improving the country's international reserves, as well as stabilizing the Ghana cedi. The World Bank is also expected to disburse some $250 million before the end of this year as part of its support for the Ghana Financial Stability Fund.
Now, the cedi is expected to weaken for the third week running. This follows rising foreign exchange demand from local corporates and importers ahead of the festive season. Here's more.
The cedi continued to depreciate following limited foreign exchange support from the Bank of Ghana. This is despite the central bank's $20 million auction to bulk oil distribution companies and $2 million spot market interventions. These, many analysts said, were insufficient to meet the persistent foreign exchange demand. Nonetheless, the rate of depreciation is not alarming. The local currency lost 0.17% in value against the dollar last week, closing at 11 cedis, 84 pesos. It also depreciated by 0.86% against the pound and 0.60% against the euro on the retail market. On the interbank market, the cedi, however, posted a mixed performance.
Now, some oil marketing companies have started reducing prices of petroleum products at the pumps today. The reduction comes after the Institute of Energy Security yesterday predicted that prices may see a downward review in the second pricing window.
Oil marketing firm Petrosol is selling a litre of petrol at 12 cedis 45 pesos from its earlier price of 12 cedis 99 pesos. Diesel is also going for 13 cedis 40 pesos from the initial price of 13 cedis 69 pesos. Oil marketing company Total Energies is also selling a litre of petrol at 12 cedis 99 pesos from the old price of 13 cedis 60 pesos. Diesel, on the other hand, is selling at 13 cedis 50 pesos from the old price of 13 cedis 95 pesos. Some of the oil marketing companies have told Joy Business the reduction is due to the cedi's stability and drop in prices of crude oil on the international market.
Internal Audit Agency and Center for Local Governance Advocacy have launched the 2023 Public Financial Management Compliance League Table for metropolitan, municipal and district assemblies to rank and assess the appropriation of funds and resources by MMDAs in the country. Out of 261 MMDAs, only 11 passed the 50% pass mark. Now, Director General of the agency, Dr. Eric Odrosai, described the performance as worrying and called for immediate investigation.
The Auditor General in its 2022 report indicated a 48% increment in irregularities at the local government level. In an interview with Joy Business, the Director General of Internal Audit Agency, Dr. Eric Odrosai, said the situation is very worrying and needs urgent attention.
As part of the arrangement, we have post-publication activities which will require us and CLG and other institutions to provide support measures to those assemblies that did not perform well, so that next year they will be able to perform well. This is not to say that we are happy about the performance, because when you look at the 261 assemblies, only 225 submitted their document for assessment, and this represents only 86%. What happens to the rest of the assemblies? We also noted that only 11 passed the 50%, which is serious, and this is about 4% of local government. So that if only 4% of local government in Ghana have good financial management systems, then it means it should be a cause for us to worry.
Dr. Odrosai also called for the strengthening of control systems at the local government level to improve the management of public funds in order to send a positive signal to the International Monetary Fund on Ghana's quest for assistance.
What we are doing now is to strengthen financial management system so that it gives the IMF the assurance that the existing control systems within the public sector, especially the MMDAs, are strong. So if the IMF supports us with funding support, they are assured that control systems are there, the PFM systems are there, so the money will go into good use.
A senior development planning officer, Samuel Seth Passa, who represented the local government minister, Dan Botche, called for the sanctioning of poor-performing MMDAs to increase compliance.
If you do a lot in the implementation of the NACAP and do a lot of put a lot of preventive measures in place, I think we will achieve and we will not be having a situation where people want to be incentivized before they comply to laws. So the part, yes, discretionary funds, yes, everybody running hectare scatter, district league table, Office of Head of Local Government said, now this one. Where are the sanctions? That's a mirror-like thing. The paradox of it that if you have incentives with World Bank funding, EU funding, what about the sanction regimes?
The PFM League table is expected to ultimately inject discipline among public institutions, reduce corruption, and improve transparency and accountability. Jesse Aram Agbakpo's report read to you.
Watching the marketplace, I want